reject your cake and substitute my own. What audacity am I about to see? This is a short tale about one of the wildest things I've ever seen at a wedding. We're off to such a strong start. Not the worst wedding I've ever been to, but certainly the most WTF. About 15 years ago, I was a guest at a big New York, New Jersey wedding. Between a New Yorker and a New Jersey? Yes, between the states. No, between two people who are from those places. I barely knew the groom, a cousin's cousin. My cousin's boyfriend's dog's nail groomer's wife. Yep. I'd barely met, and mostly I was invited since I'd been living with my aunt at the time for college and she was close with the groom. The church wedding service goes off without a hitch, and the bride, groom, and their families are doing some quick group photos outside while most of the guests head off to the cocktail hour and reception. That's where the first sign of trouble starts. That's where it always starts. I need to observe the cake stealer. The bride's mother starts throwing a fit that the bride's family should have priority for photos. But they're both getting married. You both are important. Like, they should go first? I feel like that normally happens anyway. I think it just so happens that this time you start with the groom. Why does that matter? It's not gonna take that long. She actually physically stopped the photographer. Oh, what are you doing? Are you throwing the cake at them? That's what happened to it. From taking a group shot of about 15 people to make them wait for her family to be ready. Gah. Photos can take a bit of time, but it doesn't take that long. Girly pop. You need a lollipop because your blood sugar seems low. That's why she's stealing the cake. Yeah, the bride looked mortified. Poor thing, that is so embarrassing. And the bride's father and groom's parents had to step in and keep mom from causing a scene. It's like, it's just weird when people do things without regard to how it's going to affect, especially in this case, the main people, the main reason that this event is even happening. I totally get wanting to make sure like your side of the family gets photos. That's gonna happen. Trust the photographer to do their job. That poor person just like, give me a sec. Somebody let slip that the bride and groom had paid for the whole wedding themselves, and the bride's mom was furious that she had been cut out of planning after she had repeatedly tried to change things behind the bride's back. Wow. I don't blame them for wanting to do it themselves, because then they don't have to worry about her butting her head in. She seemed to try to anyway. And that depends on you. Either, if you want to pay for it, or if you want, like, traditionally parents to pay for it. Either way's fine, but I bet that was nice. They could we're just gonna take care of it. With that smoothed over and photos done, the reception gets underway. A lovely event at some reception hall with a garden, open bar, the works. A garden? Oh, that's so pretty. Suddenly it turns into, I almost said Ice Princess. That's the wrong princess movie. Princess Diaries, where they fall into the fountain. As she's sneaking out with the cake, she falls in. An hour or two in, they're getting ready to serve food, and suddenly they're shouting from the direction of the kitchen. An entrance hall, a lot of shouting. What now? The bride's mother had replaced the cake. Who does that? Unless there's a sidebar and the couple is like, hey, we actually don't really like this cake. Can you like do us a solid? That'd be completely different. She just, I don't like this cake. I'm gonna do mine instead. Do you need some crumpets with that audacity? And was attempting to move the original cake, a beautiful 2-foot tall number, out of the building on a serving cart. That's half my size. I am 4'9". That's like half my size. Let's just say for giggles that the mother-in-law is my height. Can you imagine? Someone trying to secretly cart something out that's half their size. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't. Only a raised lip on the tile floor had kept her from wheeling the cart and cake out the door on a mad dash to the parking lot. What are you doing? What are you doing? There's no need. One of the groomsmen going out for a smoke had found her struggling to get the cart over a small bump and raised the alarm. That's right, the venue has a cake stealer alarm because this weirdly happens a lot. Can you imagine? He's just sitting there and you just see in the corner of his eye, sees the cake moving and then sees her right behind it. They lock eyes. There's just a really awkward moment for a second. She goes, "Don't you dare." His eyes swipe to the alarm, just a big red button. Continues eye contact as he slams it. Like some terrible heist movie, her whole plan was to steal a several $100 gourmet masterpiece and replace it with a cheap Walmart-looking cake that had presumably been in the trunk of her car all afternoon. Have you ever heard of the sun? It's like during the hottest part of the summer in Texas in a black car. Imagine everything's like melted off, depending on how like melty it even is. Let's say she was successful in replacing the cake. It's all melted, so she just puts a smiley face on it. Perfect. With the message, "Joke's on you, losers." She's already gone. Once they see the cake, they just hear the skidding of the car. And hoped nobody noticed. All because she was mad she didn't get her way. Wait, so this was retaliatory? She didn't get aware about the photo, so her first thought was steal the cake? And the funny part is, she probably got the pictures just fine. Suffice it to say, after much shouting in the hallway, the real cake was rescued, the imposter cake disposed of into her face, and the bride's mother spent the rest of the reception sitting in her car sulking. What in the world? A whole cartoon, dude. Like, is this the plot to Tom and Jerry, one of their episodes? Sure sounds like it. Honestly, the bride's poise at the whole thing was impressive, but I gather this probably wasn't the first time her mother went a little crazy. The rest of the reception was a blast. Nobody seemed to miss the mother much, and it was certainly one of the most memorable events I've ever attended. I don't think I'm ever gonna forget this story. Like, pull yourself together, Elastigirl. Pretty Potato Sack returns. I found out recently that if I say the word subscribe, the little button will light up if you haven't subscribed yet. So, subscribe! Congratulations, you're trapped. You are now one with the sleepover. Speaking of terrifying fates, welcome to spooky story time. And as always, greetings weary travelers and fellow story gremlins, including all the new ones that are recently captured. Boy, I'm really selling myself, aren't I? Welcome back, or welcome to the reaction sleepover. This is where we react. Whoa. This is the series where we get cozy and we react to stuff. Jeez. I've always had a fascination with spooky stories. I grew up watching like horror let's plays. I don't know, I always like the spooky tinglies. So be sure to grab your cozies and snackies, get extra cozy to protect yourself from the demons. There's totally not anyone behind you. It's me! I am all over the place today. Let's get into it. This is by Just Rose is Fine. Hi, Just Rose is Fine. The title is Alien Spotlights in the Dead of Night. Ooh! Please, take me from my dying planet. I want to cannonball into a black hole. My family would regularly stay at my grandparents' place growing up. Oh, it's always the grandparents' place, isn't it? They live in the countryside, near a lot of cornfields and farms. Again, of course, children of the corn out here. Their house is surrounded by woods, and beyond the woods, behind the house, is a wide open field of crops the neighbors maintain. No surprise there would be some I'm being possessed. Goodbye. No surprise there would be some extraterrestrial shenanigans at some point, right? That's such a good phrase. Extraterrestrial shenanigans. Shenich. I was about to say it 10 times fast. I can't even say it once. My brother and I had to share the bunk beds for our stay. I was on the bottom bunk with a full view of the window that faced the front yard. My grandparents' window blinds suck and don't close all the way, and they don't have any curtains, so I could fully see outside the whole night. And it could fully see you. My brother and I were up late joking and talking when we first saw this bright light outside. Grandpa, why are you on the tractor again? Go to bed. He's like, it's farming time. It moved across the front yard and flashed into our window for a split second. At first we thought it could just be a flashlight, so we got up to look out the window to see if we could maybe spot the neighbors that live across the street. Because that would totally be less weird than aliens. Your neighbor just taking a stroll, flashing their flashlight into your window. Totally. Oh, you know, country living. The source of the light was coming from up high. Jesus? Shining a spotlight down and lighting up the whole yard. And this light was bright. It lit up the entire yard, and their front yard is huge. My bro and I began to assume it was a drone. At the time, drones were starting to become very popular. They were all over TV commercials and on everyone's holiday wish list. So why not assume that's all it was? We looked up to where the source of light was to see if we could spot it. But as soon as we laid our eyes on it, it quite literally zipped away. Oh! And the way it moved was too fast and dynamic for a drone. And drones are known for making some kind of buzzing noises when they fly. This thing was silent. Ew! Ew! I like how that's my response to spooky things. It's just, ew! It flew straight upwards towards the sky then, faster than anything I'd seen. Dashed sideways, the beam of light still shining down the whole time. In the blink of an eye, it was gone. I feel like I don't snap good. ASMR. POV, you're at poetry night. I still feel uneasy thinking about it. What was it searching for? You! Those stories are fascinating. Anytime you hear anything about, like, especially the cornfields, you see the, what are they called? They're called, those patterns you see in the fields? What are those called? I cannot remember. The aliens got to me. They're sucking memory from my brain. Yeah, like those designs or just like other things like that. Ugh, it's so fascinating. The title is Nap Time is Actually Terrifying. I see. I'm guessing this is a story about either preschool or kindergarten, and yes, children are in fact very haunted. So this is more on the paranormal side, just for funsies. I actually have a song named Funsies. Did you know I made music? I really don't talk about it that much, and I really should. You know how in school there's nap time, and like back in my day when when I was 5, we had cots and stuff. You had cots? How fancy. I had just mats on the ground. I think I remember peeing one time during nap time. Do you guys hear that bird? It's sitting right outside. Hi. There's 2. They're flirting. No, yeah, that's so fancy. I just slept on the ground. On like a yoga mat, basically. I never understood it because I could never sleep during school. Why set up all this just for us to lay staring at the ceiling? Again, children are very haunted. Imagine if you walked in and that's all you saw. Just no one sleeping. Everyone's just staring at the ceiling, silent. I would run for my life. Trust nothing. I just wait for the teacher to tell us to wake up while lost in thought. One time I was laying there as a 5-year-old and I remember chewing on one of those candy bracelets, like under the blankets. Must keep it secret. Keep it safe. For real though, when you're that young, kids are trying to grab at your stuff. You have to keep it secret, otherwise they will get it. Honestly, that's always true. Just if you're around other children and you have a thing and they want it, they will stop at nothing to take it from you. Literally a horror movie. Dark room, children staring up at the ceiling doing nothing, and then others munching under their blankets like little gremlins. And there's lights outside of it. I look out and just see this really bright light. Save me from this nightmare. As you're walking towards the light, the teacher punts you out of the way. If anyone's gonna escape, it's gonna be me. It scared me, but I just figured maybe the overheads were on and I wasn't used to it. So I just waited under the covers, trying not to eat the candy bracelet. Don't make any noise. Thinking I'm in trouble or something. Fast forward a week or so. My parents take us out of school for a business trip. My dad did sales, so he stayed in hotels a lot and ended up missing a lot of school. I forgot about almost getting in trouble and just enjoyed the free chocolate muffins at the Holiday Inn we stayed at. Just desperate to forget the nightmare, trying to drown your sorrows in chocolate. Yes, this is the way. We swam, waited for my dad, and all 5 members of my family went to sleep in the hotel room with one bed. So I was on the floor in one of those cots. Not the cots again. I remember falling asleep, which I usually did with my head under the covers, and waking up because of a bright light. It's back! You are literally haunted. I peek from under the covers and it's the same light. No way. It followed you. I can't blame it. You go on vacation, they're like, I want to join. I want to get away from the rest of these nightmare kids too. Coming in through the hotel window, which had the curtains fully shut. I was the oldest kid, so I put on my brave face since these are my fellow students, these are my baby siblings. Yes, protective mode is officially on. You're like, these aren't randos, these are my people. I love that though. You're sitting there in your like daycare and you're like, you can take them, just leave me alone. And I fully look out from under the covers. I swear to God, there was a whole alien standing above me. Ew! Ew! I remember it so distinctly. Gross! It was this gray creature with the light behind it, like a lizard man. Oh, not the lizard man! With big eyes and a weird expression. It looked right at me and I stared back in absolute horror. I wonder if you were having a, like, sleep paralysis moment. Giving me all the heebie-jeebies. I still remember being just frozen in fear, like I'm dreaming. I must be. This isn't real. The thing started leaning towards me. Gah! Personal space, sir. And like lifted its hands towards my face. And I finally screamed. Like I really screamed. Alerted hotel staff and everything. Ooh. His hand just reaching out and you're like, hey, did no one teach you consent? As soon as I did, my parents shot out of bed and the light almost sucked itself out of the room. Oh my gosh. Everything I had seen was like vacuumed out with the light. My parents comforted me and I couldn't explain what I saw. I just remember I literally pissed myself from fear. I was 5, lol. What else are you gonna do? I forgot you were 5 years old. I was really embarrassed I let a nightmare scare me so bad. Oh, I'm glad your parents weren't like, they were just like, hey, like, it's okay. I mean, they were probably frustrated, of course, especially like alerting hotel staff and everything. But like at the same time though, if a kid is really that freaked out, just like comfort them. Priorities. Comfort child first. Now that I'm older, I've seen those documentaries on people who claim they've been abducted. Maybe it's all fake, but they describe the same sensations I felt, the same light. Oh, you almost got. Honestly, when it comes to abduction, I don't know. Maybe it is real. Honestly, when it comes to life outside of us, I feel like it's possible. Do you know how many galaxies there are? And you're telling me that we're the only ones where we have a habitable planet? I don't know, man. For me, that's like, no way. There's gotta be others. Literally countless galaxies. There's gotta be more. So with that said, maybe. Nah, you just witnessed a Pokemon. That's why it was like a vacuum-like retreat. Someone was calling them back. That's what was really happening. Someone was trying to capture you as a new Pokemon. And ever since then, and to this very day, I refuse to take naps. That's kind of sad, because I love naps. And I never sleep soundly anywhere new. Honestly, that's fair. I had insomnia most of my life because I was afraid of having more nightmares. I ended up a huge stoner as an adult to counteract all of that, and I still won't take naps or smoke in unfamiliar places. Fair. Luckily, it's legal where I live, and I have a psychiatrist now who helps with insomnia, but I still feel way too crazy to tell anyone that I was almost abducted as a kid, and that most of my insomnia explained right there. That makes sense. Just like, how do you even explain that? Because, you know, for the most part, we want to be like, no, like, that's not real, but like, how do we know? Especially with how many people have those experiences. Maybe we are just like Pokemon to other beings. That's why they're trying to capture us. They want to collect all the humans. They capture me like, I got a short one. Or it's like fishing, you know? Catch and release. I wonder if it was real. Did the aliens get me at the hotel because I never fell asleep at school? They were like, this is a smart one. I know it sounds absolutely nuts, but I just had to share. I'm glad you did. I'm glad you did. No, this is what I'm looking for. I want crazy stories. Now this makes me want to ask, does anyone else have like spooky stories? Now I want to know. Again, submit them anywhere. It's my last year here and I can fail you all if I want to. What a great example. Hello again. So I can tell you're probably wondering, but yes, this is an actual quote. Oh wow. Okay, that's wonderful. This is an actual quote that was said in school in 2015. In the beginning of the second semester, and this was for A's, the class was called Financial Literacy. Don't ask me why it was called that, but it was. So let me start with the beginning of the school year. It was early August 2014. We had just gotten our schedules for senior year, and for the last class was Financial Literacy. School time skip. To the end of the day, and the teacher introduces himself and basically goes, here's the syllabus. I don't think we ever followed it. Nice. Now that I'm looking back on it. But anyway, so far first quarter was fairly good. But then second quarter was basically the small snowball of the mountain. Oh, the ones you get arrested for? The second quarter was basically the small snowball in the mountain because he really didn't go over lessons for the first semester, and like a few weeks before we graduated in May, he would just put up the formula on the board and hand us a worksheet. So a lot, if not all of us in his last class really questioned his teaching methods. And so beginning of second semester, a student went to the higher ups and made a complaint about how he teaches, or lack thereof. And so the higher ups relayed the info back to him, and like the next day he went, so I got a complaint that students were questioning how I teach. Remember how I said it was a snowball in a mountain? Well, that snowball managed to shapeshift into a Chernobyl. And he looks directly at the singular student and says, would anyone in particular like to fess up? Oh my gosh! She looks at him and says, what are you saying? Go on, spit it out. The gusto on her. If that happened to me, I would just start crying. I don't remember the rest of the words, but the teacher then yells, it's my last year here, I can fail you all if I want to. How mature! What a great example to set to your students. That is so dumb. Just the most... if you have that kind of attitude, don't be a teacher. Just go do something else. I mean, maybe he realized that, because it sounds like he went and did something else. Unless he taught somewhere else. But he doesn't strike me as someone who is suited to be a teacher to young children. My penny of thought. And normally we as a class are calm and chill, but this, with his frustration and ours combined, it felt like it made the room warm. Like we were all sweating type of warm. You're all just literally sweating. Just literally a Western showdown happening. Sweat included. And then after that, it kind of went back to normal-ish. Do you mean like for the rest of that day? Just had the awkward silence. He's just drenched with sweat, breathing heavily, and then just... back to the Pythagorean theorem. How do you just continue from that point? I hope he either learned his lesson and strive to be a better teacher, or just went and did something else entirely. Because genuinely, if a person is willing to use their power as a teacher to just fail all their students just because they were mad at them should not be a teacher. Or if they really want to teach that bad, go to therapy. Okay, this one I am very excited for the title alone. And I talked a little with the person when I was asking permission and everything, and they were so fun to talk to. This is The Legend of Limbo Jimbo. I'm so intrigued. I've been out of high school for over a decade, and people still talk about the legend of Limbo Jimbo. This just feels like living like Larry. The vibes I'm getting, this is Jimbo was living like Larry, 100%. So I figured I'd share it where I know it'll be appreciated. At the time of the story, I, 18 at the time, was a senior, and my brother Jimbo, 16 at the time, was a sophomore. My brother has always had a unique sense of style, and to this day consistently rocks a brand of sweatpants overalls called Swoveralls. Wait. He's wearing sweats and then overalls? Is he not hot? But then would you even see the overalls? Those are just for him. Those are secret. And he let you in on the secret. Ooh, the council. The fellowship of the sweatpants. I make so many Lord of the Rings jokes. Back in high school, his favorite look was to have one long sweatshirt string and one short one. Oh, he's one of those. No! I always hated seeing those. If I ever saw that, I'd always fix it. Not everyone. I wasn't that socially apt. I only did it with people I was comfortable with. Could you imagine though? Anytime I see someone with that, just in the hallway, I just go, thunk. I do it so fast they don't even see. I am short enough that I could get away with it. Just go, yes, sound effect and all. They just hear that and they don't see anything. They look around, I'm already gone. Wow, how pointless. I have the power of pickpocketing. Pickpocketing? Is that the word? Pickpocket? Yes. I have that power and I just use it to fix people's strings. Anyway, sheesh. Sometimes in the hallway, one of his friends would grab the long sweatshirt string and they would play limbo with people going to class. How long is this string? Just keeps going and going. And then when you get to the end of one string, another one is tied at the other end and they just keep pulling and pulling. He's like, what? I gotta be ready for playing more limbo with more people. Jimbo's prepared. Students and teachers loved it and they still managed to get to class before the bell. One day the principal, who was in her first year as principal and on a power trip, great, walked up to them and told them to go to her office. Once there, she told them that they were in trouble for bullying. Wait, your brother? What? Allegedly made 2 students cry, blocking the hallway, and otherwise being delinquent. They explained that even teachers participated, and if anyone asked them to move, they would have done so happily. Like, where are you getting your information from, madam? She didn't care and gave each of them a week of detention? For playing limbo? Here comes the revenge. Someone made a group on Facebook, Free Limbo Jimbo. Free. See, I read that at first like, oh, free limbo, as if it's some exclusive thing you have to usually pay to get into. But no, Free Limbo Jimbo. Free him! From the Facebook group, which garnered nearly 200 members in less than 12 hours, a plan emerged. Dude, what a well-loved guy. Everyone's like, this is our one joy in the passing the hallways to go to class. This is our one thing we can enjoy before walking to our doom. Just let us have this. The following morning, everyone was to gather outside the school for one thing. The one thing that could bring it all together. A limbo protest. Never would I have thought I would see limbo and protest together in a sentence. We stood outside for all of homeroom and first period. Posters were decorated, shirts were made, students chanted, Free Limbo Jimbo! Free Limbo Jimbo! I love these people. This is community. Could you imagine? He's like in detention. He just looks out the window. He starts beaming because he sees how much people love him. Ah, I love that for him. When the second period bell rang, we took to action. A large speaker played the limbo song as nearly... Is that the one where it's like dun 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 dun? That song haunts that principal's dreams to this day. As nearly 200 students limboed into our school one by one. Our principal was furious. She tried to take down names for detention, but there were too many of us. Like, you can't do it to us all. This is such an amazing story. When the last bell rang that day, my brother, myself, and about 20 other students walked into the detention room to pay our debt to society. The detention supervisor took one look at us all and said, I marked you as attended. If you run, you might still catch the bus. Even the detention person, even the detention supervisor was like, you know what? I respect you all. Get going. You are amazing. And there you have it. Today I dug out my old limbo shirt and happily wore it to commemorate the greatest protest in all Northwestern New Jersey. Regional high school history. Finn. I love this story so much. Bro, one of the greatest stories I've ever read. Send my best to Limbo Jimbo. He seems awesome. I love it when people come together for the most dumb things. What an amazing story of community. I hope he was immortalized in the yearbook. I hope. Bridezilla in full force. The never-ending wedding invite nightmare. Oh, the title alone. Oh, and if you have any stories you'd like to share, wedding or otherwise, you can either email me or there's links in the description. Sacrifice to your gremlin sweepover queen. She demands tribute. So I, Jenny, work at a small wedding invitation design company with my friend Shayna. That's such a pretty name. Like spelled that way too? Shayna? Cute. We specialize in creating beautiful, personalized invites that include custom caricatures of the couples. Caricatures? That's so fun! Oh, I wish I booked you for my wedding invites. I still could. Surprise everyone, we're getting married again. Honestly though, some people probably would like that because we had a COVID wedding, so it was real small. The wedding was on brand. Do you do other commissions? Because I would love to see a caricature of PocoMuses. Let me know. Thanks. Love you. Bye. People love our work, and honestly, it's been a joy to see how happy our designs make couples until Sarah walked through our virtual doors. I'm here, peasants! Coming in like the guy from Spy Kids. From the beginning, Sarah had a vision. Fair enough, every bride wants her special day to be perfect, right? But with Sarah, perfect is this ever-shifting target that none of us can hit, no matter how hard we try. Great. Let me tell you, this woman's audacity knows no bounds. Great. I love the way you tell stories. Round 1. We are suddenly in WWE. I'm sure it felt like it. WWE designed like wedding shop. It'd probably be a really good stress reliever. We start with the design after a long consult where she's very clear, or so we thought, about what she wants. She just straight up gaslights you. I want pink. Okay, I didn't say pink, I said blue. This wedding's a boy. We spend hours crafting it, taking every little detail she mentioned into account. But when we send her the draft, she replies with this pathetic email full of complaints. Suddenly everything's wrong. The colors, the font, even the caricature style that she had been so excited about in the first place. And like the benefit of the doubt in me is like, people can change their mind, and that's not necessarily a problem. But that absolutely would be frustrating, and like you say in the next sentence, fine, we think. It's her wedding, we'll make the changes. Definitely depends on what the tone of the email was. Round 2. The sound design. I got John Cena blasting in my head. Shayna, my designer friend, and I put together a few hours redoing the design, tweaking every element Sarah's complained about and getting a new caricature illustration to match her updated vibe. When we send in the new draft, we're expecting maybe some minor edits. But no, I'm exhausted for you. Sarah's decided she wants an entirely different look now. The colors are suddenly too dull and the caricature is now too playful. Oh man. And again, it's like, weddings are really stressful, and I want to feel for her there, like if she's just really having a hard time. Like, having a hard time figuring out your design, that in itself is fine. But if you cross into the realm of mistreating and being rude to, which there's a whole bunch of more text. It seems like there may be some rudeness going on here. But yeah, like if you cross into that, it's like, okay, like please check in. Just because you're frustrated doesn't mean you get to mistreat other people. Okay? Okay. Or I'll lay the smack down. Lovingly. In the form of a gentle hug. To say, it's okay to struggle. But boundaries. At this point, Shayna is ready to pull her hair out, and I'm exhausted. But we keep going because we're professionals, and let's be honest, we still want to get paid. Oh. Would you get paid more for having to redesign stuff? How the story may be going, maybe not. As I'm realizing, I don't know why I'm doing this with my hand. I'm just trying to send good vibes and healing towards her so she stops taking her frustrations out on other people. I put a spell on you. To be kind. Speaking of which, not once has Sarah even hinted that she's willing to cover the extra time and work this is costing us. I hope this was a lesson in including that in the contract, if you have not already. Also, how recent was this? I'll probably ask. Unless you're watching now, which, hello! Tell me. Round 3, yet another design. Oh, that's gotta be so hard. After we painstakingly create her third design from scratch, we're feeling cautiously optimistic. Sarah's been approving each individual change over email, good. So surely this time we're on the right track. But of course, oh no. I laugh to cover the pain. She swoops back in with a whole new list of demands. Again. Apparently now the colors clash with their decor, and the caricature looks too serious. Ugh. Goodbye, voice. I don't need you anyway. I can't take this anymore. And again, making changes. Why does my mouth feel so weird when I say that? Changes. 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 Sorry. Sorry, my throat is not feeling silky. More like sandpaper. Ugh. What is my body doing? Just allergic to the nonsense, I guess. Anyway, what was I saying? It's not a bad thing to want to make changes. And we don't know how much she was trying to like keep her vendors in mind. But as it seems that she is not doing that with these poor vendors and just keeps making changes on the fly. And in this last sentence, she even has the nerve to suggest we just add in her new changes because, in her words, I'm sure it won't take you long. That's not only seeming like she's not trying to be mindful of them, but is also just disregarding the artistic process. Like, sure, some pieces take less time than others, but like a whole caricature? I mean, you know, you see caricature artists, they can go pretty quick, but like, as OP is showing, like, they put a lot of work into it. Like we said towards the beginning, like, it is her day. Like, we want to make her happy, but it's like with the caricature, for example, going from too playful to now too serious. Oh man, that's hard. Her tone throughout has been incredibly demeaning, treating us like we're her personal on-call designers with nothing better to do than to cater to her every whim. Yeah, that stinks that she's treating you like that. Intended or not. Intent does not discount impact. And I will say, like, other than the like, I'm sure it won't take you long kind of seems to be like snide quip, it's like, she hasn't done anything like too bad yet. Like, she hasn't like cursed you out or anything. So it's like that little bit of me, I'm like, maybe she's just incredibly stressed as like, yeah, the weddings are. I want to give benefit of the doubt. I want to believe. The final straw. Approaching the deadline. I just pictured, you know, along the WWE image, just a piece of straw. She's just smacking you with it. We're now ridiculously close to her wedding day, and she still hasn't settled on a design. She also needs the invites printed, but we can't print anything until she approves a final version. Time is running out, and yet every time we send her a draft, she's back with a fresh list of changes that are frankly nowhere near what she initially requested. And again, it's not like she's necessarily like done or said anything that's particularly like overly rude, but it's like respecting, oh, this is a good way to put it, respecting the vendor's time, because it's like, this is a service you are paying for, and yes, you are paying them to do a service, but if you can't make up your mind to do it, you're just wasting their time, and that's not respectful. Again, whether intended or not. Because like, yes, again, you're paying them to do a service, but that, as OP says, like, we're not your on-call designers. If you want an on-call designer like that, and maybe that would have been better for her. Shanna has started saying she's about a hair's breadth away from telling Sarah to find someone else. Just so close. And honestly, I wouldn't blame her. The kicker? Oh no. Despite all this extra work, she refuses to even discuss paying extra. Why? Again, respecting the vendor's time, resources, energy, and resources do fall under energy too. And that, like, with how cool this business sounds, I'm sure that she's not the only client. Like, they probably have other clients to work with. Like, simply going from more time equals more, like, you must pay more, that should be a given. So that's my benefit of the doubt slowly slipping from me. Because that is disrespectful, like 100%, regardless of the intent, which seems to be, may not be the best. She actually had the audacity to say, well, isn't this what I'm paying you for? As if we're obligated to keep turning out endless designs without any compensation for our time and effort. And, okay, maybe, I'm trying so hard, somehow does not understand if that sentence is not meant to be condescending, and if she somehow doesn't understand that, like, more time should equal more pay, that would be fascinating. I'd be confused at how she would not, like, genuinely not understand that. But that is me probably trying to stretch it because she may understand that. Like if she works herself, it's like, yeah, more time, more money. I think that's the unfortunate thing when it comes to like artistry, like in the wedding world and just in the art world in general. Like, let me pay you an experience. Like that kind of thing, or just it not being valued as much. And so people don't think that they need to pay more when it's like, no, like this is still time and energy I'm spending like any other job. So here we are with this never-ending project that's eaten up hours of our time, drained our creative energy, and left us questioning why we even got into this line of work in the first place. Oh, no. Please let all the other beautiful projects you've gotten to do with other people remind you of why. Please don't let her ruin it. By the way that OP's talking, I'm guessing this is like somewhat recent. When was this posted? Less than a month ago. So this must be very recent. No, you're doing great. It's okay. That's the thing. When people seem to be entitled to things like this, I do like to think that this is not like the norm. I think it seems like there's a lot because people are just telling more stories about experiences like this, but I'd like to think that most people are understanding of like, yeah, more work, more pay. Because for example, as much as we all come across people like that who are not being their best selves, we have the professionals trying so hard to remain professional, and kudos to you for doing your best, because this must be so frustrating. It's like no matter what we do, Sarah's never satisfied, but she sure doesn't mind asking for more. And it's not just the changes. Her attitude, her tone, everything about this partnership has been exhausting. Ugh, that stinks. Because I want to hope in the goodness in people, I hope she reflects upon this, assuming it's not still ongoing, and that she learns that it's not okay to be disrespectful to vendors' time and energy. Learns to be better. I have no idea how this will end, but right now I think we're just praying for the patients to get through this ordeal without letting loose a well-deserved FU and calling it quits. Oh man. Oh, I just glimpsed at the rest of it. It is, so they did have a resolution. Let's see what it was. I'm like praying for every chance that the bride can rise to the occasion. Please. Update. More clarity on our Bridezilla saga. Just wanted to clarify a few things to give you all a better picture of how we've handled this so far. Contract boundaries. We do have a contract that states clients gets up to 3 edits, with anything extra being changeable. This is clearly communicated to Sarah, but she seems to think chargeable only applies to when she decides it does. And that, unfortunately, is not how that works. Like, when you work with a vendor, you have to be aware and comply with what they have in their contract. 50% upfront policy. We collected a 50% upfront payment. Plus, she's billed for each additional design and caricature request, all of which we've shared with heavy watermarks. Removing those would be near impossible without paying up. Yeah, smart. That's why watermarks are a thing. Printing and shipping. We also handle printing and shipping. Honestly, considering the higher printing costs where she lives, she'd save money sticking with us instead of attempting to reproduce it on her own. Money isn't an issue? ? This is the real kicker. She's told us over calls that money isn't an issue, but the tune changes in text where she avoids every mention of extra charges. It's like dealing with 2 different people. Whoa, that's so weird. That is so fascinating that over the phone, she's like, money's not an issue, and like, yeah, fine. But then over text, it's a different story? That must be so weird. Update, competitive market struggles and Sarah's latest demand. Hey everyone, just a little more context here. We're based in India, where the market is so competitive that we basically charge dirt prices. Imagine competing with a 1.4 billion people. This makes dealing with someone like Sarah all the more exhausting. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I get making changes. I really do. And like the stress of the wedding can really be impacting like what you want, like changing your mind from what you thought you want. But like as much as you are able, factor in respecting vendors' time because they are still people. And yeah, like I'm sure you have other people to work with, like I said. Although she lives in another country and still expects our prices to be as per Indian currency and market. Oh, interesting. Reading that makes me wonder how much like she's trying to push that. Like, let's assume she's in the US. We don't know, but we know that she lives in another country. So regardless of where she's at, that's a thing. Maybe she's trying to do a sneaky and try to like pay less. So here's the latest. Exhausted for you. Sarah came back saying she wants both designs. Both. She's already paid for one, but expects us to send both watermark free. Without paying for the extra one? Again, this is coming down to respect of respect to the vendor, respect of the craft, respect to, where's the respect? Where has it gone? God, what have you done? And now she's decided she doesn't want the prince anymore. Okay, which honestly, we're pretty relieved about. Like, I'm sure you got other people that are much nicer to work with. We've clearly told her to pay the remaining balance if she wants both designs. As is, like, why is that not acceptable? If she doesn't, we'll gladly end things here and let her find someone else for her next round of demands. And we don't know how much you, like, if this is word for word or if you said it to her in a different way, but it sounds like you did your best. Like, kudos to you for still remaining, like, professional. Because, oh, that'd be hard to do, I'm sure. Again, we're sharing the story just for laughs and as a way to commiserate with others who have dealt with their own version of bridezillas. We're fairly new to the business, so we're chalking this up as to a lesson, learn to tighten up our contracts moving forward. Yeah, and that's good. And that's what's unfortunate. Like, I do like to think there is good in everybody, and like, when people act like this, there's just something going on that is causing them to act this way, and that can be valid. And it's still unacceptable to treat other people this way, especially when you are paying them for a service. That's a funny thing about, like, you know, them sharing this, like, oh, like, we want to commiserate with other people, because this stuff happens, like, wedding or not. Sometimes people be stinky. And you just, like, I kind of love that human behavior too, where it's like, you have to share. It's like, how did this just happen? I find that very cool about humans. I do consider the written word to be, like, artistic. And so, like, you writing all this out, it's like you are sharing another piece of art with us, with stories. I've been talking a lot lately that, like, humans have always loved stories. Even when we were all cave people, we were drawing pictures on the walls. There was even, this is really fascinating, there was even, like, an analysis somewhat recently about, like, how they drew, I think it was like a buck, and just how delicate the details were. That was done with rocks. That, like, just really goes to show we've always had a special place in our heart for stories and the way it can connect people and the way it can teach lessons and all that. Anyway, let me stop getting so mushy and continue this. Expect one final update soon on how all this wraps up. Thanks so much for the support and advice along the way. Oh boy, I read the first sentence. All right, buckle up. Final update. Bridezilla bags the refund, but not without a parting gift. That gives me bag of poop set on fire by the door kind of vibes, and I don't like it. All right, buckle up, because the saga has reached a chef's kiss ending. I'm so excited and so scared. After all the back and forth, Sarah's decided she won't be paying a rupee more. Oh, that's the currency. Paying a rupee more. Why? Apparently, we weren't transparent enough. We weren't transparent enough? Even though we handed her detailed pricing for every single piece of her design demands. And, as we half expected, she now wants out, demanding every last bit of her money back, despite the contract, and threatening to take us to consumer court over a measly amount in rupees. Did I mention she earns in a currency that would make the sum look like pocket change? You even have the receipts. And yet, the gaslighting continues. The attempted gaslighting, excuse me, because you are handling this well. Because you're like, no, we gave you plenty of details. We are sorry this didn't work out for you, but this is unacceptable behavior. So she sends this novel of a message with all this drama about how we've disappointed her and how we've ruined her special day. I get the stress. The stress is so valid. It does not excuse stinky behavior. It's like I said, at the end of the day, these are still other people who are doing a job that you should be paying for. If she genuinely thinks they haven't been transparent with her, I'd be curious to know how, because it sounds like they have not only given her all the details of every, like, change, every detail, but they've tried so hard to meet the demands. And that we shouldn't do this to other brides on their once-in-a-lifetime day, although given her demands, we can't help but wonder how long that's gonna last. For someone this close to her wedding day, she sure found plenty of time to draft an essay. Good point. Now, our contract is as clear as day as non-refundability, but there's only so much we can do to reason with bridezillas like her when she's on a warpath over the measly amount. Again, we're a new business and we don't need that grief. Like, sure, technically speaking, you can choose to act like this, but at that point, the business can choose to discontinue working with you. That's not necessarily what happened here. Like, she discontinued the work with them, but, like, you can't just... There's always consequences, whether good or bad. There are consequences to our actions and the way we talk to people. all of that. So after a group eye roll, we've decided to give Sarah and her fiance a farewell gift by returning the cursed money. That was very kind of you. Consider a very small fee to just never hear from her again, but we've made it very clear to her. If she uses any of our designs after all the mindless arguing she's been doing with our team, we won't hesitate to take her to court. Because yeah, at that point, that's theft of service. And for a groom, we're throwing in a discount for his next wedding because let's face it, anyone who's putting up with this needs all the sympathy and discounts he can get. Whew, that's spicy. I do hope if they do stay together, that if this kind of behavior carries over to their relationship, that they can work through it and be happy, or if them being happy means separating, because sometimes that has to happen and that's okay. Whatever's gonna help the healing process. Oh, and guess what? She hasn't even responded to our last message asking for her bank details to refund the money. Shockingly, it seems finding another designer hasn't been as easy as she'd hoped. Karma working its magic, perhaps? I mean, at that point she may just need to design it herself, which is like, who knows how like artistically inclined or how confident she feels in designing something herself, but it's like at some point, like if you are that picky, you can design it yourself. You can avoid all of this. Shanna and I have been laughing about this for days. This ordeal has practically become our office comedy special. We got so many inside jokes now, it's almost worth the hassle. Almost. And this last bit is what I've been saying. Weddings are stressful, sure, but it's a whole new level of a-hole to offload the stress on the people bending backward to accommodate every whim and wish you've got. So, what have we learned? What have we learned? Tighter contracts, full payment before any further edits, and, maybe most importantly, the ability to spot the red flags from a mile away. Thank you everyone for the laughs, the support, and the advice. It's been hilarious to share the Bridezilla horror story, and though she technically won this battle, we know who came out on top here. Home Skillet! A literal saga. Why do people gotta be turds? I wonder, given that you are in a different country, if she tried to pull a fast one on you. I don't know. I really do wish the best for her. I certainly wish the best for you. That, like you said, like, even though situations like this are really lame, they can teach to do things differently, to do things that protect you, like personally, as well as your business, but especially yourself. Because, like, you know, this kind of business requires you to be artistic, requires you to be able to show up in that regard. And it's a shame that she was taking advantage of that for whatever reason. Bro, I'm exhausted just reading that. But what an ordeal. Sending you all of the hugs. And again, huge thank you to letting me read this. What's the lethal combo? Give Amanda a long story, and she will never shut up. But I like that. I think it's fun. Plus, you're the one watching. Am I the a-hole for not making board game nights in my store child-free? I, 35 male, own a game store and hold board game/D&D nights 3 times a week. My husband and his friends do D&D every week. I love my nerds. It's actually quite fun to listen to them. It's very fun. They always try to recruit me. I really like listening. I'm not really one to play it. Maybe I will one day. Maybe they'll coax me in. They'll dangle some cheese, which would be effective because I love cheese. I have a few tables set up in the back so people can come in and play games, along with a small kitchen, really just a fridge, microwave, sink, and cupboard, so people can have some snacks and drinks while playing. One of the regular groups have been playing D&D in my store on a weekly basis for the past 3 years, and I've sometimes joined them as a guest player, and it's always been great fun. Great fun. Feels like such a fancy way to say that. How great fun this tea party is. About a year ago, they had to find a new DM because their usual DM didn't have the time to dedicate to preparing campaigns anymore. They're like, no! While they were looking, they still came in weekly, but just played regular board games instead. Background noise of tables being flipped. Oh, they're playing Monopoly again. Now, a few months ago, this 10-year-old girl, let's just call her Emma for convenience, showed up with her mother at one of the game nights. According to her mother, Emma had spending months making all kinds of materials for playing D&D, but didn't know anyone who would play with her, so her mother wondered if it was okay for her to ask at my store if anyone would be willing to play. The regular group was more than happy to join in for a session, and it ended up going so well, they asked Emma to DM for them regularly if she wanted to. That is so cute! Fast forward to now, and Emma is DMing 2 days a week, one time for the regular group and one time for one-off sessions for other people to jump in if they want. I swear this girl is a genius. She has memorized the entire player's handbook and monster guide and has made a fully homebrew campaign that's genuinely fun and exciting, though sometimes also surprisingly dark. That's so funny when children are just like, where did you get this from? I gotta feel like that's like... possibly my parents watching me like enjoy horror let's plays when I was little, and they're like, oh, how'd you get into that? Now for the problem. Now for the non-wholesome part. A few other people have started complaining about there being a child on game nights, saying the reason they're playing here is because they have children at home. So you don't have to play. You don't have to play. Like, I'm sure there's other groups you can join. Like, are you just upset that she's there? Because that's not cool. She has every right to be there. Especially if the owner is like, yeah, cool, why not? And other people are happy for her to be there. I don't know, that's such an interesting thing that happens a lot lately, that people are like, what about me? And it's like, you don't have to engage in this. Whether it be something on social media, you can scroll away from it. If there's a child playing board games with a group of people, like, you don't have to engage in that. You can walk away. It's hard not to laugh at that, because it's like, you don't have to engage with it. There are other things you can do. Good luck. Now that Emma is also coming to the game nights, they feel like they can't play games as they usually do because they keep having to think about whether their language or jokes are inappropriate for the presence of a child. I mean, that's understandable. You have to censor a little bit more. But even then, like, those people who are like that up in arms about it, they don't have to play with her. They can form their own group, right? Because it seems like other people that play with her are just fine. I told them I never said anything about providing a child-free space, so I won't be banning Emma from coming. Wait. They wanted them to ban her? She shows up one day and go like, sorry, you're banned. You're telling me you want the owners to do that and have her just be on the other side of the glass holding up her D&D stuff like SpongeBob holds up that tear sweater he made for Squidward? You want to see that? You want to see her suffer? How rude! So I'm sorry if they don't like it, but they're welcome to plan their nights on days where Emma isn't there. That's the thing, it's not like she's there all the time. And you don't have to engage with that. Or find a different place to play. I'm sure there's other places. I did tell Emma's mother that Emma is only allowed to be here as long as one of her parents is also present. Not going to take any risk. I mean, she's 10 years old. That's probably not the worst thing to enforce. Am I the a-hole for not banning children from game nights and telling people to basically suck it up? No. If you don't like it, you don't have to engage with it. Just because you don't like it doesn't make you entitled to make other people, like, not exist. Like, it's fine, I guess, if you don't want to, like, play with a child, or if you want, like, don't want to be around them for whatever reason, but you have to understand this is a public space, and, like, lots of other people enjoy, like, her being there. Go on a different day or something. Don't gotta be that difficult. Okay. Enjoy. This is Banshee? I like all the question marks. I like the very questioning tone. I too have questions. I feel like that's a common experience though with ghost stories. It's like, I cannot believe this happened. So this happened when my brother and I were teenagers, maybe 13 and 14. Prime haunting ages. You're already having a hard time in school and going through puberty? Bam! Here's a ghost. It's a ghost about going through puberty. You just hear a bunch of voice cracking. Ooh! Beware the acne. We lived in a rural town. Is rural? Is that hard for anyone else to say? A town with a nice mix of busy streets and, at the time, sprawling farms. My family home was the second last house in the last neighborhood before you hit farmland as far as the eye could see. So you live right next to the abyss, huh? No wonder you're having ghost encounters. It's a field of corn, and all you hear are just a bunch of whispers saying corn over and over. I'd be scared too. To the right of my house, as I'm pointing left, to the right of my house was my neighbor's, then a thick hedgerow, which separated the housing estate from the farm. Estate. Sounds so fancy when you put it that way. The first 5 or 6 fields in this part of the farm grew barley and wheat. Wheat! As kids, we made tunnels through the hedgerow and spent hours every day during the summer exploring the farms with friends. Each field was huge and was separated from the neighboring field by other large hedgerow, some complete with streams running through them. Like streams as in water? Do you have to, like, water bend to get through them? Just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. One night, my little brother, our 2 best friends, and myself were outside our house playing with a football on the road and skateboarding. As a little kid, I would say, like, oh, I ride skateboard, because I wanted to seem cool, when really I was just rolling down the hill on my stomach. Or my butt. Very extreme. It was about 9:30 at night and quite dark. I wish it's getting dark at 4:30. Remember, we were the second last house on the road in the very last housing estate before it was just barley as far as the eye could see. We were essentially the very edge of town. Anyway, on this night we were hanging out as usual when suddenly we heard an ear-piercing squall. Squall! It's like, what is the bird's name in The Little Mermaid? Where he's wah wah wah. Yes, very squally. Coming from the barley field beside us. Why are you doing kiss the girl here? There's literally no water. They're still trying to do it. They're like sitting in the field in the boat. He's trying to like scrape his way through the field using the oars. The perfect romance destination. Barley! It was so loud and high-pitched and had a feeling of panic about it, yet kind of funny to our young minds. You're scared yet also excited. We decided to go investigate. You buffoons! You never investigate. First rule of survival, never be curious. Thinking it was a pig or an injured animal of some description. When you put it that way, I gotta say a little Wilbur. So in youthful excitement, we burrow through the hedgerow. I don't know why that description is funny, but I love it. And start running towards the origin of the sound, all laughing, thinking, and excitement. You thought wrong. The barley was ready to be plucked from the earth, so it was high, up past our waist, so we couldn't see anything that may be on the ground injured. I do not like where that could lead. You get yoinked, and you'll start squalling. As we get close to where the sound is coming from, it suddenly stopped. Excusez-moi? We stop and look at each other laughing. Why are you laughing? There's no laughing matter. Then it starts again, but now it's originating from the point of the field in which we first entered. I'm sorry? We exchange glances in confusion before sprinting toward the sound, believing it must be a scared, injured animal. That fast, though? Especially if it, took a second from it stopping and then starting again. You wouldn't last 2 seconds in a horror movie. No questioning at this point? Then the sound stops before immediately starting again, but directly behind us. Begone, foul beast! On to get the frying pan. This time it sounded ominous, and the feeling changed. The sound then stopped again, starting instantly, but way, way off in the distance. Ew! It moved towards us at speeds way too fast for an animal. Stop it! As it reached us, I hit it with the frying pan. As it reached us, it stopped, and again came from a totally different end of the field, hurtling towards us in pitch black. I forgot it was dark! I forgot it was dark! Now we are frightened. Now? This is not an injured animal. We have no idea what it is. The sound then seemed to stop and start from everywhere. Fellas, we have unwittingly entered a ghost rave. They suddenly all get squished together, not realizing they are in the middle of the mosh pit and it's too late. Moving with incredible speeds all around us, covering huge distances in seconds. Ew! Without saying a word, we all run as fast as possible to the hedgerow, which we entered. All the while, this loud screeching, wailing moves all around us. My younger brother begins crying in fear as we all rush to get back into our neighborhood under streetlights near our home. As soon as we cross the threshold, the high-pitched screaming chasing behind us stopped at the border. It's vampire rules. We were all physically shaken and scared now. My little brother was hysterical for weeks, refusing to go back into the field even during a sunny day. Again, I was literally picturing it as a sunny, nice day. I literally read at the beginning that this was at nighttime. Gah. A few years later, my brother would tragically die suddenly in that house. I'm sorry for your loss. Many strange sightings of a withered woman were reported around those fields over the years. Ugh. Oh yeah, Banshee. Right. Literally the title of the story. If anyone is familiar with the legends of the Banshee, let me know what you think. This occurred in Ireland, as you've probably guessed. I did not. I don't know what I was picturing. Alrighty, this is too gay for the wedding. Gotta love that.
This is where we fight!
Hi, I'm non-binary, which usually isn't a big deal. It shouldn't be. I don't really want to come out to strangers, so whatever gender they decide I am, it's not worth correcting, but I use they-them pronouns and prefer my family and friends respect that, as well as not use my dead name. Makes sense. I gotta imagine that's a little rough sometimes though, because it's like when someone is using the incorrect one that it's kind of like, okay. But yeah, makes sense with family and friends. Really low bar for most people who have a basic decency, you know? Yeah, I honestly don't see the problem with even just using they them, because it's like that's true. Like they them is always accurate. When I'm not sure, I always do that. Anyways, my best friend B, of well over 10 years, maybe even 20 if we were still friends now. Oh no. I love the subtle burn in that statement. If we were still friends now. Was getting married a year or two ago to her college boyfriend. Call him Mr. B, I guess. It's like the name of someone running a really shady business. You're like, what's your name? Mr. B. Now, do you want the cargo or not? And she wanted me to be a bride person or whatever. That's fine. I agreed that would be lovely. I'd wear what she wanted me to wear, not get too big of tattoos on my arms until after, not dye my hair, not correct all the random old people who were likely to dead name me, and misgender because it wouldn't be worth making a fuss on her big day. That's really sweet of you. I'm definitely of the opinion that like tattoos or dyeing your hair, there are stories out there that I think I've read too of where someone involved in the wedding process is like, oh, you can't do any of this, when it's like, ugh, my stupid empathy coming in, going like, oh, but like the aesthetic thing, like if someone has dyed hair, like you can understand the frustration. But at the same time, it's like, it should not get to the point where you're dictating what a person can do with their body just because of your aesthetics. And tattoos are a big one of that, where it's like, it's their body, it's their choice. Like, you shouldn't force them to not do those things. So again, very sweet of you that you tried to be conscientious of that, especially with things that like shouldn't be a big deal. Because yes, we can have the nuance to understand that a person's aesthetic goals are like, they shouldn't be discounted. Like, it is their wedding, they should be able to decide what to do, but like, again, should not come at the expense of trying to force people to do something that like changes their body or makes them uncomfortable. Because we've read way too many stories of that. It's just like, get it together, man. Like, can you just... I get your day's important, but like, come on. Just be a good human. But just from this statement alone, you seem like a very sweet bean. I agree to all this nonsense. I mean, some of it, I guess, is fair, but my sister is getting married, and she thought it was weird I asked her if I could have pink hair right now, because who cares? I'm literally her best person, so just weird, but whatever. B was very old school. I love that your sister was like, why does it matter? Thank you. Thank you. That's exactly what I was saying. Like, ugh. It's good to want your wedding day to be as perfect as you can make it, but like, just keep people in mind. Just be kind. Just be a good human. It shouldn't be that hard to, at the very least, keep that in mind. But yes, please. Thank you to your sister. Thank you for being sane. Anyways, we were in a group chat talking about the bachelorette party. More context for the party, I live out of state, and all the other bridesmaids lived in B's home state where the wedding would be. Before I read state, I just like, they live in B's home. They're always there. Always watching, Mike Wazowski. She coincidentally wanted to have the party in my state. Huh. So I offered to pick them up from the airport and drive to the location and essentially drive us around during the whole thing. That is very sweet of you. I have a bad feeling that your sweetness is about to be taken advantage of. Hold, please. She made the group chat after she talked to me personally about all this, and this is the first message she essentially sent. That messes. B. Hey y'all, so dead name. Why are you starting with the dead name? Because this is supposedly like one of your best friends, right? Your best friend. She doesn't care about your. Cool. Cool to know. You've already messed up, madam. So dead name is going to pick us up from the airport for the party. Wrong pronoun, will be taking us around so we don't have to rent a car. Here's a link, make sure y'all buy your tickets ASAP, etc, etc. To say I was shocked she had the audacity to do that would be an understatement. The audacity! Where is thy heart? This is literally your supposed best friend. I'm sure she was fully aware of what your preferences were, and she apparently didn't care, which is... Because what exactly does it take away from you to just use the pronouns, I couldn't think of the word, the pronouns that someone prefers. Someone else's preferred existence does not take away from your own. That should not and does not affect your existence. It does not threaten your existence. Because I really think that's one of the biggest things about pronouns and why certain people are so against it, is because they feel it somehow threatens their own existence, their own identity, and it doesn't. It really doesn't. So just... maybe you can just do good human behavior. Just... I just responded, actually, I'm trans non-binary and use my name and they them pronouns. Since I'll be meeting all y'all for the first time, I guess I should have mentioned. Yeah, perfectly within your right to correct that, because like, again, she was probably aware of your preferences, and really sad, really disappointing that she didn't care, even though she's your best friend, was. And I'm sure that was hard, but maybe for the best. Especially reading that very ominous next sentence, I guess that was too much for her. Like, you weren't even rude about it. B must have kicked me from the group chat. I have an Android, so I don't know all that fancy stuff iPhones do. You one of those people? No, I'm just kidding. That's fine. Because I sent that message and never received another one. you weren't even rude about it. You were like, hey, actually, like, this is more correct to what I align with. Like, even at the end, you were like, I'm gonna meet you all for the first time, so, like, here's this info, thank you. I knew she wanted me not to correct people at the wedding. That feels like a red flag already. Why? What exactly does that take away from? Because in a lot of these kinds of stories, people, like, say you can't do this, you can't do that, because somehow that's going to take the attention away from them. I highly doubt in casual conversation during the wedding, someone correcting someone else about their pronouns going to disrupt anything. I just really can't see how that would disrupt anything. So just, can you take it down a notch, please? Which, like, whatever. It's not whatever. Again, you're so sweet to, like, try to cater to her demands. That just feels like such a red flag to me, that, like, she doesn't want you to correct people about your existence. People don't always know, and that's okay, and that's why we correct them. It's after that that determines what kind of a person they are. Because if they continue just to disrespect your existence, your choices, then, like, it's really worth considering whether you want them in your life or not. But, like, if they didn't know and you corrected them, they're like, oh, my bad, like, and then they'll try again. It's like, yeah, then that's a green flag. Because that shows that they care about about you. But I didn't think she expected me to go an entire week being misgendered and dead named and driving everyone around sober. Am I drunk right now? It really sucked because I would have never done that to her if our position was reversed. Help me. Because my friends being respected is really important to me. Her not caring about something that is clearly important to you and wanted to actively make you suppress yourself just because it's her day. Pal, how do you not see the problem in that? How do you see that, like, not being ultra rude? And to me, that just really shows that, like, her friends being and feeling respected is not that important to her. Therapy! Especially over something that is not that hard to do and is hardly disrupting of a social situation. In fact, the only times where that is disrupting of the social situation are the people who make it a big deal. The person doing the correcting, showing like, hey, like, this is how I want to be referred to. That's all they want. Like, can you just have a heart? So that's a shame. Anyways, a week or so later, she sent me this long message that I was essentially disinvited from the wedding for simply correcting her in a group chat. Let's drink our water and calm down. She basically said something like, I thought you understood what I needed from you, but I can't have anything too gay at my wedding. She said that? Like, she seriously said that? I'm sorry, just like, that's so funny. I can't have anything too gay at my wedding. That's just one of those sentences. It's like, how do you say that with a straight face? And again, how is your best friend just simply existing at your wedding going to detract from your special day? Because, like, this is a perfect example of the only one making this, like, a huge deal is her, because all you did, literally all you did, was correct her in a group chat. It'd probably be best if you didn't go. I didn't even finish the sentence because that just... it's just so... I told her that I was hurt by that and that I was fine not going and that I hope she has a great wedding and a great life. Never heard from her again. Yeah, and that's hard. Like, especially you guys were best friends for almost 20 years. That is so long. I'd like to think that it helped a little knowing that she was being a very terrible person to her best friend. Man, a friend breakup would be really hard. Don't worry, you are very loved in the PocoMuses community. You are very welcome in the sleepover. In hindsight, of course, there were several red flags. She was grossed out when I had a girlfriend. I'm glad when I had the right gender. And the gremlins coming. That's so rude. Like, girl, stop it. Stop it. Desist. She always thought being queer in any regard was a phase. I should have taken her weird stuff she said more seriously, but in the end, I was glad how I handled myself. You were so mature the entire time. You were even willing to do it. You were willing to do things that directly, like, compromised your, like, probably mental well-being, like, just to support her. She just couldn't appreciate that even a little bit. Like, not saying that you should have had to. You never should have had to do that, but the fact that you were willing to just shows how good of a friend you are and how she didn't deserve that. So good riddance. And like, as usual with stories like these, I do hope she grows from it and like understands that what she did was awful. Here's to hoping. Who knows, right? Because as it says on this thing, you can't see it, but I got it from one of my beautiful mutuals, J. Lou Rose. She's amazing. Her products are awesome. You should go check her out. In fact, I'm wearing her sweater. No bad vibes. So it says, I have no energy for hate. I either love you, wish you well, or hope you heal. I dearly hope she heals, because wow, the havoc she wreaks. Reeks? Is it reeks? Come on, man. Just do the healing you need. Have love in your heart. Just be good vibes, okay? But importantly, you don't need to be in her life in order for her to, hopefully, and go on that healing journey. And I am very proud of you for standing up for yourself and understanding when it was time to walk away, as hard as that must have been. You deserve cake! But yeah, the situation, you were super respectful, super mature, super kind. Like, so kind. My motto is, I hope everyone who did me wrong is doing great, because I don't want them to have reasons to come back into my life and ask for forgiveness or help. I just move on and love who loves me. I hope that doesn't sound too harsh. I mean, that kind of goes in line with what I was just saying. Like, it's this sort of duality of, I hope you heal, but I also need boundaries from you. Because, like, for whatever reason, you're not respecting me or you're hurting me in whatever situation, right? I sincerely hope that for her. I hope that she's doing better. But then again, that you don't need to be in her life in order to do that. So I don't think that sounds harsh. In fact, I think you are so kind. Can I just say, you are such a good person. The way you both handled the situation itself and how you continue to handle it to this day, even the way that you just telling this story and just how much kindness you clearly have, I admire you. We should all strive to be like this. I'd like to think it's possible to wish the best for people, but understand when we need boundaries with said people. Wonderful example of that. Thank you. Thanks for reading this long thing. Sorry it's so much. You don't need to be sorry one bit. Story Gremlin loves it. I love watching these on your channel. Thank you. Hope everyone has a great day and don't let anyone get you down. Yes! Finishing off with positivity, because that's how we like to do it here. This is Unbelievable Camp Legend. Are you breaking the cardinal rule, the sacred bond of bandos, in revealing that one time at band camp? Blaspheme! I have a very uncommon name for my age. I'm named after my grandmother's, so while my name isn't odd, it's definitely associated with old ladies. My last name is also uncommon but familiar. Think along the lines of Agatha Frances Burr. Honestly, Agatha's kind of a nice name though. I feel like there's a lot of older names that are actually like, oh, that's kind of cool, you know? Although, isn't it so weird? Like, older person name or just like a grown-up name. And you're so used to seeing it on an adult or an older person. So when like someone names their child that name and you see this baby, this child that has a grown-up name, you're like, no. There are no Frank or Sharon babies. They just come into existence. They are fully grown adults that burst from the ground. I don't make the rules. In high school, when I was ready to get my first driver's license in Massachusetts, I was denied. Denied? They said I had the lost privilege because I was truant in Tennessee. I had never lived in Tennessee. What do you mean? That's not me. I am from the South, but never Tennessee. My mom made some phone calls and we learned that there is another Agatha Frances Burr with my exact same birthday? No way! That is both cool but also really freaky. What are the chances? Chances of that gotta be so low. You guys meet up and it's like, we duel at dawn, you imposter. To the death! There can only be one! At the time, my mom giving a physical description over the phone to the DMV in Tennessee was enough. Imagine if that wasn't enough.
Prove it!
They say the same thing. There can only be one. It's a conspiracy. They cloned her so that they could deny her a driver's license. Just for that purpose. That's it. They have access to cloning technology and all they want to do is mess with some kid. Thankfully, she and I have very different features. They even added a special note to my official file to prevent future confusions. All according to plan. Fast forward several years to when I was chaperoning a group of 12 to 14-year-old boys on a trip to Quebec? That's how you say it, right? This is before passports were required to enter Canada. That's so weird. That's kind of like how security wasn't always a thing at the airport. That's right. It wasn't always a thing. You could just go in. That's so crazy. So I only had my driver's license, this one from Texas. At the border crossing, the officials asked us to park and have all the adults enter the guard building to check in while the kids waited in the vans. In the vans? That doesn't seem safe. I guess there would be guards around. The kids are like, "See ya, suckers." All according to plan. The paperwork went smoothly until they got to me. "What has your clone done now?" They paused and asked if I had a passport. I told them I did, but not with me. They frowned and looked back at their computer. I quickly figured out it was because of the other Agatha Frances Burr. She's like in prison for grand larceny. I'd had to prove I wasn't her a few times since the initial incident. I suggested a physical description because that usually worked, but the guard said that wouldn't do because people lie. It's Mission Impossible. She's wearing a mask. They made phone calls in the back room and tried other ideas. A social security card? A different ID? Nope. I had nothing but my license. Oh, that's the worst. Oh, dude, so embarrassing. Okay, so we went and visited my family, right? And we wanted to go onto the military base to go swim because, you know, it's the thing we always did. And I was like, oh, I don't need my ID because, like, in the past, you're able to just go through with a sponsor, which in this case was my mom because, you know, she's married to my dad. He's retired, all that. So I was like, I'll be fine. Then we get there, and it was 100% ID checks. It was so embarrassing because literally everyone else had their ID and I did not. And I even had a chance. We were at like a roundabout where I was like, what if I do need my ID? We had a chance to go back. And we didn't. The guy was really nice, and I think part of this was probably because it was busy, so he just wanted us to go through. But like, he was really nice. He really didn't have to do this, but he let us through. I sat sheepishly in the car, just like, I'm so sorry. I don't have it. The one time, every other time I have my ID on me, because you never know. The one time I did not have it on me. So embarrassing. Anyway. Meanwhile, the other chaperones had no idea what to make of this. I was the only female on the trip, and since I was quiet, most of the guys had made the mistaken assumption that I was shy and sheltered. Think again, bucko! So every time the guards disappeared into the back room, then reappeared with another question, it got harder and harder to hold back their laughter. They found it even more unbelievable that I knew what was happening. After a frighteningly long time, they asked if I had any tattoos, and if I got them in prison. I did not, and they had me pull up my sleeves so they could verify my shoulders are clean. Relieved, one of the guards told me I should never get a tattoo. Okay. Oh, I thought it was the guards laughing. It was the other chaperones. I see. You're like, I've been through this before. Turns into a noir, as the whiskey and cigarette in hand. I've been through this before. There was a time where I was mistaken for another. You wouldn't believe how long it would take them to be convinced that I was not this person. But still, I stuck up for myself anyway. Because I knew I couldn't be stopped. I don't even know what I'm saying. Finished off with a piece of unsolicited advice. Also, relieved? Why were they so relieved that it wasn't you? What has the other Agatha done? I have so many questions. The chaperones laughed about that the rest of the week. They and the kids told everyone about it once we returned to the camp. A friend told me they went to a camp reunion 10 or so years later, and the story of Agatha needing to show her shoulders in order to get into Canada was still being told. I mean, it's kind of a ridiculous story. I love that you've run into two different situations where you were confused by this person. The second seemed to be much more dramatic. To this day, I have no idea what the other Agatha Frances Burr had been up to. And I'm quite scared to know. I'm both very curious and very frightened. Because if the guard was like relieved that it wasn't you, what has she done? And why does it involve Canada? Grand larceny and then tried to escape. That's my headcanon. Today we're reading stories about crows, because I felt like it. Well, I posted a community post that involved a crow. I'll show it here. And then I came across some stories about crows on Reddit, and I was like, the universe is speaking to me. A crow signal. So, grab your cozies and snackies. Let's head on into it. A crow said hello to me and made my day. We were walking home through the park from picking my son up from school. I looked into a tree because I hear a rattle. Rattle skedaddle. One crow up there, shaking some maracas. Could you imagine seeing that? Ha! Possibly talking to another that was waiting across the street. Then he made a funny sound. I asked, "Are you meowing at me?" That's so cute. Is it mimicking a cat? You know, crows can actually, like, talk to you and mimic things like parrots. Crows are so cool. What I love about crows is they're the perfect example of boundaries. Be nice to them and they will love you forever. If you're mean to them, they will remember forever. And he did it again. And it was definitely, hello. Aww. So of course, all 3 humans and 1 feather boy said hello back and forth a dozen times. You know, I would do that with squirrels. I would play on the trampoline outside my house, and then there were some trees like right next to it, and there were squirrels, and they'd, you know, hang around and chitter and stuff. And what was even the sound I made? I thought I could talk to squirrels. I think I just talked to them. I don't think I tried to like mimic their sound. I don't know why I can't think of their sound right now. But yeah, I thought I could communicate with them. They were my friends. And yes, I left them a little crumb of my kid's leftover sandwich for being my friend and making my day. Do your friends imitate with their vocalizations? That's so fun. Crows are so cool, and they're so pretty. It's kind of like crows and black cats, like in pigeons too. It's like they're like the most unloved, but like prettiest animals, you know? I feel like crows are underrated. I'm creating an army of crows. Just love that title already. So, a few days ago, I learned that if you feed crows regularly, they'll remember your face and sometimes bring you little gifts. I love that. Naturally, I immediately went to feed the crows. I'm hoping they'll tell their fellow crows, their fellow crow bros, about me, and I'll have this reputation among crows. This sounds stupid, I know. It sounds great. I'd love an army of crows, especially if it got to the point of like, they see you as one of their own. They protect you as one of their own, because that's the thing. What I said about them, if you're mean to them, they will remember. Like, they will jump you. Like, for real. Honestly, like, being nice to animals in general, like, why would you not? You know? That is such a cute human sentence. Like, I'm hoping they'll tell their other friends about me, and then we'll all be friends. It's adorable. My question is, how do I go about it? What should I feed them? And do you guys have any tips for growing a crow army? Well, we're gonna learn right now. Update. Thanks for all the advice. I've laid a few nuts, apple slices, and hard-boiled egg in my backyard. My cult has its first 2 members. The crow cult. This might sound silly, but seeing these 2 fellas gave me an immense amount of joy. As they should. They're amazing and adorable. Like, seriously, crows can be the sweetest little guys ever, or they can be absolute menaces to you. And it's all up to you. Update 2. I've picked a spot in my garden to lay out food so the crows can easily reach it. After the 2 yesterday, there haven't been any crows yet, but I'm hoping they'll show up soon. The plan falls into place. Update 3. The crows showed up! Like 8 of them! They seem to be primarily interested in walnuts, so I put a little extra this time. Update 4. Figured I'd update you guys on this. A lot of crows have been following me around, so the recruiting has been successful. Make sure to always have a handful of peanuts at hand, because I can't say no when they look at me that way. I'm like a human peanut dispenser. And walnuts, apparently. You sound like a delight. Love the image of just, you have this flock of crows. Come at me! Just try getting past my crow tornado. My crow-nado. Imagine someone trying to like threaten you or something. Suddenly you just hear caw, caw from the distance. It's like a whole cloud of them. They spin around you. Realistically, they probably spin around the person doing the threatening. Oh, hope you enjoyed this chaos of stories. Because I sure did. I hope you're doing well, but if not, I hope this video... What was that? I hope you're doing well, but if not, I hope this video's brightened your day at least a little bit. I appreciate you all very, very much. Thank you for being here. So go off and build your crow armies. You have the blueprint now. Take care of yourselves and each other. Do your best to be a good human, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!